My name is Pauline Sylvain Lewis, and I am the Program Director for the Centers for Working Family at North Lawndale Employment Network, which is a nonprofit organization that offers workforce development to one of the city's west side neighborhoods, where 47% of the residents in North Lawndale are either ex-offenders or underemployed. And we do this by offering employment services, financial literacy programs, transitional jobs under the great leadership of our CEO, Brenda Palms-Barber, by also incorporating the jobs with our social enterprise, Sweet Beginnings, where we're hosted on the west side of Chicago. So thank you for being here. And we'd like to say thank you to the City of Chicago, the Local Initiative Corporation, as well as the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau for having us out here today to introduce some just information about North Lawndale, that over 75% of the clients we serve have some kind of financial issues that we're attacking, whether it's through credit building, issues with the banks, and so forth. And of the other 25% that are not touching on the issue is probably due to the fact that they're unemployed or they have no credit or no financial situation to touch on. And 65% of those clients that we serve had some kind of involvement with some payday lenders or some predatory lenders in our community. So, and as well, and we're grateful to have the support of the City of Chicago, the Community Federation Protection Bureau, and that we'll work together to protect Chicago community working families from bad actors and predators. And whether it's through mortgage fraud, credit card scams, or payday lenders, these companies need to be sent a clear message that their bad behaviors will not be tolerated. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Mr. Richard Cordray, the Director of Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Prior to joining the Bureau, he previously led the Bureau's Enforcement Division. Prior to joining that, Mr. Cordray served on the front line of consumer protection as Ohio's Attorney General. Mr. Cordray recently recovered more than $2 billion of Ohio's retirees, investors, and business owners, and took major steps to help protect its consumers from fraudulent foreclosures and financial predators. Mr. Cordray also served as Ohio's treasurer and Franklin County's treasurer, two elected positions in which he led state and county banking, investment, debt, and financial activities. As Ohio's treasurer, he's resurrected and defeated economic development programs that provided low-interest loan activities to small businesses to create jobs, to relaunch the original concept as Grow Now, and pump hundreds of millions of dollars into access for credit for small businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Cordray. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you to Mayor Emanuel in particular. It's great to be back in Chicago, which to me is a fascinating city of many unexpected dimensions, where I spent my law school days. During my first year, I lived on the south side across from the park where Mayor Washington then lived. Outside his building, many of you will know this, a large family of green and gold wrong-way parrots had perhaps confused their migration patterns from South America and had built an enormous nest. Little did they know they'd stumbled upon the safest home in the Northern Hemisphere, because the mayor's police security detail was parked under their tree 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I also understand the mayor himself was a fierce and valiant protector of the parrots. This is just one instance of the intricate tapestry of our communities and the interesting connections they represent. My own public service roots, as was mentioned, were planted firmly in local and state government in Ohio. In 2005, I was named the County Leader of the Year, which is an award that was won this year by your own Tony Preckwinkle. Your very fine City Comptroller, Amr Ahmad, worked alongside me when I served as Treasurer of Ohio. I was glad to be reacquainted with him today, and I'm sure he's doing a fantastic job here, just as he did there. And of course, your mayor. Everybody knows your mayor, and they see his relentless tenacity to find every single way he can, big or small, to make life better for everyone who lives or works in the city of Chicago, and today is an example of that. From my experience in state and local government, I've found that strong partnerships are difficult to build but always the best way to get things done. So I especially appreciate the announcement we're making here today. Chicago is the first city in the country to agree to share information directly with us, the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, about enforcing the laws that ensure that people are treated fairly in the confusing and complex consumer finance markets. We want to learn from and expand on the ways you are protecting consumers and share those approaches nationwide. We also want you to be able to take advantage of the new resources we bring to the arena, including strong analytical tools and a broad mandate to protect consumers against illegal practices. Every day, millions of Chicagoans use financial products with the goal of achieving prosperity through hard work and sound decisions. Mortgages allow families to invest in a home and pay for it over time. Credit cards give us convenient access to our money when we need it. Student loans make it possible for people who have ambition and drive to finance an education and brighten their future. But as the past few years have shown all too clearly, if these products are misused, they also have the potential to wreak havoc on consumers and the wider economy. Debt can devastate people's lives. Individual financial problems then become community problems. We saw that quite clearly with the mortgage crisis. The foreclosure epidemic sucked the vitality out of once vibrant neighborhoods. I saw that in Cleveland, Ohio. I saw it throughout Ohio. Vacant properties become not only eyesores, but magnets for drugs and crime, and they lower property tax revenues as they decline in value. If the properties turn into a dead loss and have to be leveled, you know who pays for that? The city, of course, has to do that. When neighbors see their own property values decline, entire neighborhoods suffer, and cities are forced to bear the bottom line costs of problems created by others. When I went to school at the University of Chicago, my professors would have called that an externality. That's a sterile academic term, but the upshot is that predatory lending hurts more than its immediate targets. It assaults the very foundations of stable communities. The damage can take years and years to repair, as we're finding. The Consumer Bureau was created to ensure that such irresponsible and illegal practices don't continue to plague our lives and our communities. Partnerships like this one are at the heart of our efforts to improve how consumer financial markets work for people. You are on the front lines, and we're glad to join you there and partner with you as the new federal agency focused exclusively on consumer financial protection. We want to know what you're seeing and how that can inform what we should be doing, where our enforcement and supervision teams could focus their attention, what problems our policymakers should undertake to fix. We need to do this work together and promote responsible business practices. When honest businesses prosper, communities can flourish, and so will America's economy. We've already begun our work to enforce the law against unfair, deceptive, and abusive acts or practices. We're launching brand new federal supervision of payday lenders and debt collectors and credit reporting companies. We can team up with the City of Chicago on these things. Because of your close relationship with your constituents, you have a unique ability to help us spread our reach more broadly. By working in partnership, we can and we will succeed in educating, empowering, and protecting our citizens. They deserve to have someone standing on their side. At the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, we look forward to teaming up with you to do just that. Thank you. And next up, I'd like to introduce a man who is never afraid to be on the front lines for the people he represents, your mayor, Rahm Emanuel.
First of all, Rich, I want to say welcome home. You just kind of short-sold what you did at University of Chicago besides law school on the law review, like somebody else we know who was at a law review, different school. So congratulations to, and welcome back. We still have deep dish pizza if you need it, okay, as a going away. We were talking earlier, one, not just about the office, but also about my interest in making Chicago a landmark of a city to cooperate with this consumer office. It was a major fight to get the office. The big financial industry and insurance and banking did not want to see this office created. Because of the president's determination, this office was created. But if I can roll the clock back to my congressional days, the first bill, or one of the first bills I introduced, was the Elder Justice Act. And it was to put on the federal books protections for our seniors, and one of the principal goals was to protect seniors in the area of financial scams, where seniors were made vulnerable, where people actually would ask them to take loans before the Social Security check came, and those were high-interest loans, and seniors became vulnerable to those type of scams, and we wanted to make sure both the U.S. Department of Justice and also Health and Human Services were coordinated and had the resources to protect our seniors. We happened to pass it in the health care bill, which is an unlikely place to do it, but when you're chief of staff, you'd be amazed what you can get done. Second was also at that time when I was on the Financial Services Committee, I then worked with Senator Hillary Clinton and passed legislation to protect military families, because a lot of the payday loaners, a lot of the insurance companies actually would set up operation near military bases to pry on our military families. When one member of the family was away, then they would actually offer them financial products that was not in their economic self-interest. So have a long history of making sure that the laws on the books and the enforcement resources are there to protect the consumer, because the big guys, the banks and the insurance companies, the payday lenders, all have what they need. We got to make sure the consumer has the law on their side and the protection and the resources equal to measure what the big banks and others can bring to bear. Second, I think the director, Rich, made a, I think, very, very important point, and that is that one person taking a bad mortgage, what used to be called in some loans like the liar loan, it ripples out of that house and affects the entire neighborhood, because when one home gets foreclosed, all the other properties lose 10% of the value. That's what the basic studies say. Now we're here in Chicago seeing a slight spike in reverse mortgages. Having this relationship will allow us to work with the Consumer Protection Office to make sure that that does not become epidemic. And the people that use reverse mortgages are our senior citizens, more likely, not only people. And so the question is, if we're seeing something, having this relationship will allow us to bring all our resources, both here at the city level, but also with the partnership with the federal government, to make sure our seniors or our average consumers are protected. Now, we're going to not just have this unique relationship of sharing information. We're now going to be introducing 3 ordinances to all enhance and strength that deal with debt collection and debt collection and the licenses that are provided, teeth for this office, the Bureau of Business Affairs, to enforce, and also zoning to reduce an overconcentration for payday lenders and others that pry on poor people and people of low income who don't have the information accessible to them to know whether they're getting into the right kind of financial relationship with a payday lender or a debt collector. So while we will share this information, we want to make sure what we have on the books at the city level protects our families either on getting a mortgage, debt collection, credit card information, student loans, all that information to make sure that single moms, hardworking families, middle-class families have on the books and the enforcement equal and measured against the big banks and others who pry on them. And I also, let me say this, I actually think it's in the financial industry's interest. A lot of people think this is adversarial. The reason I think it's in their interest is because when you raise the bar of the standard of conduct and you have an enforcement mechanism to make sure that everybody plays by the same rules, the good actors don't feel like it's a race to the bottom on predatory lending and other type of behavior. It is in their own economic self-interest to have strong, enforceable regulations and rules of the road. A, for their industry, and B, most importantly, for the consumer. And I think this works for everybody involved. Now, in this office, about 8, 9 months ago, we announced that we were going to reform and cut our business licenses. And we did that from 117 down to a little less than 50, a 60% reduction in business licenses. It was there intended to help our small businesses get set up. We are using the same office today to announce our consumer protections for working and middle class and lower income families to make sure that big banks, insurance companies, payday lenders do not abuse their abilities and do not abuse those with low information and make sure that they're treated any different than other types of consumers. And we're going to work with our neighborhood groups. We're going to work with the federal government. We're going to strengthen our city ordinances to make sure that Chicago stands out as a model for both the financial industry and for consumer protection.